Hey everyone, this is Jim Kellen, one of the members in Bitcoin Mentor Club. I just wanted to mention that right away because I don't want this to come across as I'm taking credit for this file. This was obviously given to us by Cecil and the rest of the crew in Bitcoin Mentor Club. But this has literally been the most powerful tool. I said that a couple of times. I've mentioned that to Cecil that literally this is the most powerful tool that I've had at my fingertips since I've been playing this game in crypto, and it's brought me so much value that I wanted to impress upon people, like, use this. If you're not using this document, use it. It's going to change everything for you. um, with that said, I really want to also extend a big thanks to Cecil and the rest of the guys at Bitcoin Mentor Club. All of our mentors that put this together for us. This is an amazing group of people, um, and I feel truly blessed to be a part of this because I'm going to share kind of what this has done for me personally. This portfolio just in itself, right? Um, and I am so grateful for that, and I can't thank you guys enough for that, man. I mean, it's just amazing what's happening, and the opportunity that's in front of us all. With that said, I have done some updates and some tweaks to this document, and I've made some changes that have been a big help to me, and I know that the instructions that came with this were kind of lacking, and a lot of people like aren't really sure how to use this, or really how powerful this is going to be, in your own investments and helping you grow your portfolio. Um, little backstory with this, guys, just so I don't lose anybody's attention, and you guys actually spend the time to like learn this, put this document together for yourself, and put it in place, right? Um, I heard about Bitcoin Mentor Club sometime, mid-November. I think it was maybe closer to the beginning of November, and I think it was roughly right around the 22nd of November that I actually got in and set this file up for myself. And it really doesn't take that long, guys. I think the first time I did it, it took me about 45 minutes with a fairly large portfolio. I think I added right away like 40 coins or something like that. And of course, there was a couple of things with the document that were bothering me that I wanted to, change. And so, a couple of those changes took me a little bit extra time to figure out. But as far as like just getting your portfolio in here, it's fast. It's not going to take you long. And I promise you guys, if you're not using this, it's going to blow your mind, the clarity that this gives you. And most importantly, the ability to like kind of look down and see all the chess pieces, right? Um, with the type of clarity that allows you to make the moves that you're going to be making, to build your portfolio, right? It's just absolutely amazing. So it's definitely worth the time to set this up, and hopefully I've made this a little bit easier for everybody, and I think I'm going to be able to make it really easy as far like to how to use the doc, how to add your coins in and stuff like that. Because the document itself is not difficult at all to use. It's kind of overwhelming to look at because there's like a lot of data there, fancy charts. These things are all helpful, but I think a lot of people like that aren't comfortable with Excel like look at this and go, oh my God, this is like really overwhelming. When in reality, it really, guys, it can't be any simpler. I mean, this thing is so simple to use and gives you such clarity. You're really shooting yourselves in the leg if you don't use this tool. Um, to give you guys an idea, right? Again, just to make sure you stick this through and watch this video and put this into place for yourself, right? Somewhere's around the 22nd when I put all of my portfolio into this and got that clarity. Um, at the time, I thought I had around 150,000 in my holdings, right? And the moment I put it into this doc, it was just an amazing thing that happened for me. First of all, I realized that I was actually holding on to about closer to a $300,000 portfolio. So I literally had about twice the amount of money in my holdings that I knew, and a lot of that was due to the fact that I kind of stepped away from crypto for about 3 years, and was working solely on my consulting practice because I knew that the holdings that I had, they just had to kind of sit and wait, right? I wasn't really big into trading and investing. I got my start really attracted to the mining of cryptocurrencies, and so I did a lot of mining, built a lot of different types of ASIC setups, mining script coins, years back, and I honestly I got myself kind of into debt because it's very difficult to stay profitable back then with the hardware here in the U.S. with our high electrical costs, and so I knew that I was kind of like a break-even point probably when I stopped mining and put my attention fully on my consulting practice. And so I knew at that point, right, I just had to kind of sit on that and let it build because I knew that the value was going to go up, and eventually it was going to be worth a good amount of money, and I'd be able to get back in and start investing and trading again. And the timing of this meeting, Bitcoin Mentor Club, Cecil actually is the one I met on a webinar, and like most of you, I'm sure probably the same. Um, I've had some personal communication with Cecil as well. He's a really great guy, man. And again, I just so fortunate to be a part of this. But let me say this, guys. Like somewhere around November 22nd, right when I got all this in here, like I said, I was looking at $300,000 portfolio, and I got to tell you, uh, I'm so close to becoming my portfolio reaching seven figures. It's just astounding. So in just a couple few months, right, I have gone from 300,000 to near $1 million, and I'm positive my portfolio is gonna surpass that, within a 2 or 3 week period. The only reason it's not right now is because the markets are down. If the markets were up like they were a couple weeks ago, I would have already passed that and been part of that crypto millionaire club, right, that we're all trying to get to. So it's unbelievable what and I gotta say I owe all of that to this stupid simple document that you guys are looking at, right? I owe all of that to this. It wasn't solely the investment opportunities, right, that Cecil has recommended to us, right, because most of those haven't even played off yet, right? Most of us still have our investments out there, so that really hasn't even impacted my portfolio yet. When my investments that I have out there right now impact my portfolio, oh my goodness, it's just insane, right? I'm going to be sitting at multiple seven-figure portfolio, um, in all likelihood, and I think by the end of this year, it's inevitable, right, that I'm going to be looking at some pretty impressive wealth here. Um, so it's really exciting, and again, like I wish I could say it was all Cecil's advice and these investment opportunities, but the reality is for me it was having clarity on my holdings and being able to see my chess pieces, and having that ability and clarity to know what you can move around and what you can't, is what did it for me. And it's as funny as it sounds, I owe it all to this document right here. It's crazy how powerful this is. And I think what the only thing that bothered me with this portfolio when I saw it was how undervalued it was in the membership. Like these guys undersold this tremendously, um, and I have to say that kind of sucks, man. I wish they would have really hit it hard and really pushed people like you have to do this, because I'm telling you guys, it's insanely powerful being able to see all of your chess pieces on the board with live updated current information, right? I mean, it's just insanely amazing. So with that said, um, yeah, just set this up, man. Don't mess around with it. I'm going to make this really easy for you. Just get this up and going, and push everybody else in the group, man, to do this. If you know people that aren't using this, push them to do it, man, because it's going to change everything for them. I'm telling you. I think this is even, and I don't have experience with some of these new online portfolio managers. I know there's a new one that a lot of people are using that has tax accounting and stuff like that in it. I've seen a little bit of this, but I haven't used it. To me, this is more powerful uh, because of its simplicity and its ability to give you insight, like on what you need to know. Uh, you know, an opportunity comes up, right, and you want to invest, and you've got to pull it from somewhere in your portfolio, right? You can you can come to that conclusion inside this portfolio in just a couple of minutes and have everything in front of you on one screen, to be able to find those opportunities. Another thing that's happened for me a couple of times with this, right, is that um, you want to update this document once or twice a day. That's very important, right? You want to come in here, run the update function, and just glance at the numbers. It literally takes like 30 seconds to do that. So I try to do it like twice a day, minimum once a day. And you're going to be amazed. The bigger your portfolio, uh, the opportunities that it avails you by having that instant clarity on everything, like every day with live information. An example of that is, I've had a couple of coins. I did this with cannabis coin some 3 or 4 weeks ago, right? Where I updated my portfolio. I noticed a pretty significant jump in value from the short period I had last updated it, and it really easy for me to look down the line, right, at the 24-hour gains, right, and I could see that it was cannabis coin itself had gone up like 120, 130% or something like that, right? And knowing the background behind that coin, I immediately um, I immediately thought to myself, this is a pump that's going on, right? So I take less than like 2 or 3 minutes. I go and I look at on Bitcoin Talk, and a couple other places, and I just all I want to know is there something going on that caused this rise, right? And lo and behold, I was right. There was absolutely nothing going on around the coin. There was no news happening, nothing like that. So I knew it was a pump. So I send all my cannabis coin to Bittrex, right? And I sell it. And I wait for it to drop down, which happened, I think, within 2 days. And I doubled my coins and put them back in my portfolio. Those are the type of opportunities that having this much clarity on your portfolio will avail to you. It's crazy cool, guys. And the other big thing, like I said, is when you've got an opportunity that you want to invest in and you don't want to use personal funds, but you're wanting to move chess pieces around in your portfolio. You want to borrow from somewhere to put into this new opportunity. This is so powerful in allowing you to do that, because you can see what is up, what is down, where are you at in your gains with that particular currency, right? Common sense tells us that if we've got an investment, let's say in EOS, for example, that's a bad example because I've got that marked as something else. I'll explain that in a second. But let's say in Dash we're looking at 700, 800 or 1,000% gain, right? We know that we've got a lot of profit in that coin, right? So we can safely pull off of that and put some of that profit somewhere else. That's the type of thing that makes that this document allows you to like really assess really fast when you got to make moves like that. And this is why I think this whole document was so undersold, man. The moment I got this thing online, I was just like, oh my God, right? Look at what I can do. It's crazy cool. And if you guys, any of you have like a decent sized portfolio already, um, yeah, you're going to be really blown away once you get it in here, and you can really see what's going on. So one of the most important numbers in this document, right, is what you paid. I'm going to go back over here to the primary sheet. I'll explain those other ones here in a second. Um, so one of the most powerful things, right, is this gain. And this is something that really bothered me when I first got this doc and set it up, was that the gain was coded, programmed to show you your gains and losses. I believe it was on BTC originally. And that's just really hard to work with for most of us, because in order for us to understand what our true losses and gains are, we have to do that whole BTC conversion and all that stuff, right? And it's really hard to do. And when we're assessing the value of our holdings for us in the United States, right, most of us, it's going to make sense. We want to understand what's going on the U.S. dollar, right? And the same thing for your local currency or whatever. I don't find the BTC gains and losses to be too valuable to me. So this was one of the things that I fixed in the document, and it's super easy, guys. Really super easy. I've already done this for you, so nobody really has to do this. But just in case somebody's got a portfolio they're working with right now and they just want to make this simple change in their own document, I'm going to show you how to do that really quick, right? So let me, I've got this row here hidden for euro because I don't use it, right? But I didn't want to just delete it. So I just hide that, right? Um, so when you guys got the document originally, here's what the code looked like for these fields under gain, right? There's the code that's running the calculation for that field, right? Um, and you'll notice here that um, this E in the front, right? E, it matches this column here for euro, right? So this is basically telling us to calculate our gains in euro. To change it to USD, let me go back over to USD. To change it to USD, you'll see that USD is row D. All I did was change that E to a D, right? And now it's calculating my gains on USD, right? Now it's important to know as well that the price that you put in here, this calculation is working with that price, right? What did you originally pay for the coin? So if we're, calculating on USD, we obviously want to put in the USD price that we paid for that coin in order to properly calculate our gains over here, right? Um, Hopefully I didn't make that confusing because it really is really easy. So well, since we're talking about the different currencies for the profit and loss section over here, right? I've done the change for you guys. Let me hide this again. Um, to hide these, you just click the down arrow, or you can right click there and say hide column, and then to reopen it, you just click that arrow there. So I've got a USD, a Euro, and a BTC sheet here in this file for you guys, right? Um, so if you want to calculate on, let's say, all three of these currencies, your profit and loss, you can have your portfolio duplicated, right? So when you add a coin to this sheet, you come over here and you add the same coin to this sheet, right? And then you add that same coin to this sheet. Of course, in the BTC sheet, you're going to want to put your purchase price. Let me change this. I forgot to change this for you guys. So this will be in BTC. You'll want to put your purchase price in BTC for the BTC sheet, right? That makes sense. And again, you'll see here that see the column C. You'll see that this code is running from column C to calculate in BTC. So there's nothing to change here for you guys. It's already done. So same thing with euro, right? You'll see that this is set to euro, and euro is opened up here on this sheet. And of course, again, on the euro sheet, you're going to want to put your price that you paid in euros, right, for that token or that coin. So I'm obviously only using USD, and likely most of the people in the group are going to be using USD. So we'll probably just stick to the sheet over here from now. Everything else is the same, guys, on all three of those sheets, right? They're just calculating in a different currency. I figured some people might want to have um, these calculations done in both different currencies, and rather than just keep adding rows and different calculations, I just figured it would be easy for you to have a separate sheet for each one of those currencies, right? So with that said, listen, maintaining the document, adding your portfolio and your numbers in here is really easy, right? You basically have to add data into just 3 fields. And they made it really easy for us, right? The ones that you're actually changing or adding your personal information in are the green, right? That's it. Just 1, 2, 3 fields. That's all you got to do, right? Let me say this. Let me say this really quick too, because we're talking about these green fields. I don't personally use these fields, and the reason why is that I don't use the top section of this portfolio um, to track anything but the coins that I own in wallets, right? These are my physical possession, and the reason for that is that I find it annoying, hard to track, right? What coins I have on exchanges, right? Because if I have coins on exchanges, the numbers are in flux, right? Because they're in trades. I'm trading them. I don't keep or store coins on an exchange. And like, this is a big recommendation. We all know why. You really shouldn't leave your coins long term on exchange. So for me, the top part of this portfolio is just about the coins that I'm holding. I'm going to show you guys how I've kind of tweaked this document so that I can still track my holdings on an exchange. You're more than welcome to, if you want to use these fields to track the coins that you have on an exchange. It just didn't make sense for me personally with my trading and investment strategies. So I don't use these. With that said, um, it's really simple, guys. Let's say I wanted to add a coin to this portfolio, and this is something that wasn't really explained. That I've noticed a couple of people have had a hard time with um, doing this wrong, and they've been breaking codes in some of these fields. Um, so here's the way that I add a new coin. Let's say that um, what's a coin here that we don't have? Let's just say cannabis coins. I talked about that. So say I want to add a cannabis coin holding to this portfolio. I always personally, I always just add my coins in alphabetical order, because if I'm trying to find a coin in my portfolio, it's just easier that I know it's in alphabetical order. So what I would do is add a new row above this, right? Because alphabetically, cannabis coins should be above Cardano for me. So what you want to do is highlight the row, right, that you want to place a new coin above or below, and then right click on that, and I want to put cannabis cup above, or cannabis coin above, so I'm going to say insert above, right? So that's really, really easy. Um, then what you're going to do is you're going to highlight again one of your other rows. Just highlight the entire row, and you can right click and say copy, or you can just simply press Control C on a Windows, and I think Command C on a Mac or something like that. And then come up to your blank row that you just added, and then Control V or right paste, and oh, this is good. I'm glad this did this. So listen, this is a little bug in this sheet. I don't know why, or in this document. I don't know why it does it, but it does it to me like all the time in multiple browsers. You'll go to like paste something in here, and all of a sudden the document is kind of frozen, like I can't do anything. It's very, very easy to just go past that by reloading the page. It doesn't undo anything you did or anything like that. But it does it like all the time. But it's really not a nuisance. Knowing that refresh, I've just gotten the habit, just boom, and it fixes it like immediately. Anyway, so we've pasted our new row in, right? So the first thing that we got to do is we have to put a very special name for this coin, and this isn't a free for all where you can just name it whatever you want, right? It's important to understand that this is pulling the current market data from CoinMarketCap, right? So we have to use their code. The document is actually coded to work with their URL structure. So what we have to do to figure out what to put in here for the name is to come over here to CoinMarketCap and search that coin, and then go ahead and bring that coin up, right? And this is the primary page for this coin. So what this means is that the end of the URL, what they're naming the coin in their URL, right, is what you have to put in that first field. So what I always do is I come over here and I highlight it exactly so I can't mess up with the typos or anything like that. And then I come back over here and I paste that in there. And if you're really particular and like I am, you can change a couple of the letters to a capital. That's not going to mess anything up. So now that you've put that in there, right, really, really easy. All you have to do, remember, you're not changing any of this. All of this data is being pulled. All of this data and all of this data is being pulled. Well, no, excuse me. I think it's this data that's being pulled from Coin Market Cap, and then the document is calculating the numbers internally from that data. But we never got to mess with this, right? All these complicated looking numbers and stuff, just ignore them. All you have to do is put in how many coins you have, right? Boom. And from there, you would, following the original document, you would open up the script editor, right? And you would come over here and you would run the update function, and you would wait for this to finish. I'm not going to grant that permission right now, guys, because this is the template doc, and I don't want to mess anything up for it, um, for everybody's going to be doing with their document. But um, this wouldn't pop up once you've accepted this the first time. You won't see this. It will just have updated your portfolio. Um, so as soon as that updates, right, it's going to come in here and it's going to update all of this information for you for that coin, right? And it's going to recalculate your totals, all of your holdings, as well as your portfolio totals down here. It's going to automatically update all of that and calculate that for you. So it's really like that easy, guys. Really, all you have to input, right, is the coin name from the URL on CoinMarketCap, the number of coins that you have, and the price that you paid um, in that selected currency, right? And you you don't actually have to use this, right? If you leave this blank, it's just not going to calculate your gains. It'll still calculate all of this information over here as well as your totals and everything. It just won't calculate your gains. But again, this is um, such important information for you to have it at a quick glance. I highly encourage, right? Like, don't go without using this. Actually calculate what you paid per coin when you make a buy, and actually put this in here, right? Because again, it's going to really help you identify um, where your most opportune areas are to like move chess pieces around in your portfolio. Is kind of how I like to look at that. With that said, let me also kind of explain this. I left this in here. I contemplated whether leaving this in here because it's kind of a unique thing that I do personally, but I find it very valuable, and I know it kind of goes along with what Cecil is teaching. So I don't think he'll have a problem with this, right? But one of the methodologies that I like to do in my portfolio, and I got to say this has been a huge reason too why I've been able to build from 300K to almost 7 figures in under 3 month period of time, right? So what I like to do in my portfolio, right, is I like to create what I call free purses as soon as I can. If I make an investment into an ICO, you'll notice down here in a second when I talk about this, right? I try to, and Cecil really is the one that really hammered this home for me. I try to have a goal before I go into that, before I actually make an investment, and I try to have a game plan of how to get my profit out before I make the investment, right? And what moves I'm hoping to be able to make with that. Obviously, we're not always going to hit those goals, and things aren't going to go the way we want them to go every time. But it's good to still have an idea of that in your head before you make that move. And so with the ICO investments, or even with some of my long-term holdings, right? I like to create that free purse, and what I mean by that is that if I've got $10,000, for example, invested in EOS, and it goes like 3 or 4 times the value of what I paid for it. Well, I've got that original investment still locked up in there, right? So what I'd rather do is when it hits 3 or 4 times, I'd rather pull my original investment out, or maybe 2 times my original investment, right? And move that into other newer opportunities in the portfolio. And the reason you want to do that is you want to always have your investment capital moving, because if it's sitting somewhere, it's at risk. And most of these coins, right? Most of these coins are going to provide us, if nothing else, a period of time where they triple or they quadruple in price, right? Well, if we get greedy, right, and we leave our investment sitting in there with that much of a profit that we've already gained, right? Because remember, this is going to be 300-400% over there, so we're going to be able to see that, right? And so if we go, oh man, that's really grown, and we just stick to that greedy mentality and just leave that original investment capital in there, and it goes under, we lost the opportunity to move that capital into something else that's likely going to go through at least that same cycle, right? Where it's gonna go up, even if it's a short term, and we're going to have a chance to pull our investment back out again, create another free purse, and get that investment moving and keep it moving in a portfolio as much as you can. That's a method of doing this the last few months for me that has become really clear at how powerful it is, and how much security it offers to your portfolio, right? Trying to constantly move that. And these free purses, right? What's cool about this is that once I've labeled something as a free purse, that means I pulled my original investment out. I've probably made some money on top of it. On top of that, and I log that myself personally, guys. I keep track of that too in another document, so I kind of have an idea long term, what I profited on those. But once I've labeled something as a free purse, right? Like, who cares anymore, right? If EOS dies, it goes out. Who cares? I don't have any skin in the game anymore, right? So I could literally just stack these in my portfolio and sit on them for the long term and not care anymore. Um, at the same time, if one of these free purse coins in my portfolio is going up and up and up and up and up, there's still a good still a good area in the portfolio where if a really good new opportunity comes up, right, I might still pull some coins out of here, right, to start a new investment, to pull a new kind of like pile out from somewhere, and start another kind of I guess handful of your portfolio now that is an investment that you're still trying to like move around, invest it into an opportunity, let it 3, 4, 5x, whatever you think is good, originally for that particular investment, right? Like I said, you have that kind of goal in the beginning of how you want that to play out, but you try to do that again. Now you're increasing the investment capital that you're moving around in your portfolio, right, from that free purse. So it's really powerful, right? But regardless of that, it's the coins themselves, right? Once you've done that, you've made that move, you're completely safe with that investment. What's left in there, because like I said, it could die tomorrow, and who cares? You have nothing in it anymore, right? And I think that in crypto in particular, that is so extremely powerful in building a portfolio, because of the fact that so many of these cryptos go really good for a little while, a year. Some of them may go 2 or 3 years before they kind of crap out and die, right? We know that the vast majority of these companies are not going to see long-term success. And so I think that's like one of the most powerful methodologies in crypto, doing the investment that we're doing, trying to build ourselves a portfolio, right? So with that said, the last couple of things I want to cover is the kind of like updates, the additional like updates that I've made to the doc to just make it a little bit nicer and help me better track what I'm doing. So the first thing that you'll notice is that we've added a button. Actually, a very good friend of mine who's really good with Excel added this button up at the top for us, right? So now you don't have to go and load the script editor and in a separate thing. Now you can just click here on this button, and you'll notice that it just ran the script, but it didn't function, guys, because I didn't give it permission the first time I ran it, right? So you got to do it this way the first time. Give Google permission, or give the script permission to access your document or something like that. I don't remember exactly what that's called. But once you give that permission that first time, right, going through the script editor, this button, you see it's coming up and asking for it again. This button will function, right? So you won't have to go anywhere to do that. Just click this, and it'll run the update script for you and update it all in the same window. If there's any kind of confusion over doing that the first time, just let me know. But I think that's pretty clear on the video. So the other couple things you guys will probably notice sitting here listening to me talk is that I've added some sections down here, and over here I left some just like completely like dummy numbers in here to help it make sense. Over here, I've actually left a couple of my investments that are in my actual real portfolio. Just kind of give you an idea of what I'm doing down here and why I'm doing it. So you notice coins to add once on CoinMarketCap, right? So you don't want to put coins up here. You don't want to put portfolio holdings up here that are not already listed on CoinMarketCap, or you're going to get errors with your script, and it's probably going to drive you nuts. And your totals and stuff are going to be incorrect because it's unable to load the correct information from CoinMarketCap. So rule number one with this thing: don't ever load a coin up here that is not already listed and has a URL over here on CoinMarketCap, right? So with that said, I realized like right away I've got to have a place to log these coins that I've got investments out that I'm waiting to be able to put up here in my portfolio, because maybe they're ICOs that haven't hit an exchange or something of that nature, right? So I've got to have means of tracking that, but I need to keep it away from at the top of the portfolio where the scripts are trying to do our calculations. And so that's all that is down here, guys. It's just a place to put your ICO investments or other type of investments in here so that you can still track that and still have complete clarity on your total portfolio values, because that's very very important, I think, as well, right? To the human psyche, right? That you're tracking that. You can see the growth in all of your holdings, your entire portfolio. That's what this is about over here, and I'll get to this in a second. But that's really important for us, right? If we can see the fruits of our labor, if we can see from the efforts that we're all putting into this, that this is working, our wealth is growing, our portfolio is growing. That's what's going to encourage you to continue on every day and keep pushing and keep pushing. And I think ultimately it's gonna bring us more wealth, right? So and success, right? This isn't all for me too, like Cecil, right? This isn't all about money, man. I'm really jazzed on what crypto is going to do and what it can bring to the world. Um, but at the same time, we are all looking to secure our own and our family's wealth, right? And security. So I think it's really important to have a complete overview here and not just what this document can calculate here up top. So um, basically, these are actual real numbers, right? For me, that I invested into these two first opportunities that Cecil brought to us. Um, and like I said, I have I have a goal that I'd like to hit, and I go in knowing that I may not hit that goal. Um, but I have a goal, right? Before I invested into Sparkle, I got in at $7, right? I invested 13,321, and I bought 1903 coins. And you know, before I made that, I looked at these numbers and I tried to figure out, okay, where do I want to pull out? And I had a lot of faith with this particular coin that this was going to be something that's very likely to hit, $40, $50 once it hits the exchanges. And I would have hit this exactly had Sparkle Coins Exchange really been usable. I know Cecil was successful at selling a small number of his in this $50 range, but that's where I had myself pegged. I wanted to pull out of this investment, selling 900 coins at $50, which would have pulled in 45,000. So I would have close, I think, tripled my investment. Would have close to 3x and held on to 1,000 coins. But that was something that I had calculated. That was my desired goal for that coin before I invested it. And this was here as a reminder to me of that, right? Because I probably wouldn't have remembered this 3 days after doing it, what my goal was with that. So that's why I put this in here, so I could remind myself what my intentions were with that. And I think that's important, right? Because some of these investments on these ICOs aren't going to play out for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. So I think that's really important, right? To jot that information down, like what was your original intent. Same thing with Ooh La La, like many that I'm hearing in the group. The anticipation, excitement is kind of growing around Ooh La La. And I don't think I've ever invested into a coin during an ICO stage more than once. And I think it's really funny that a bunch of us in BMC are now investing into Ooh La La for the second, third, fourth time. I'm guilty of that. I did the same thing. And I did something kind of trippy down here. I'll explain to you guys in a second. I think it's kind of cool, but we'll see how it plays out. But anyway, so this is my original investment into Ooh La La. How many coins I purchased, what I purchased at, what my total investment was, and what I was hoping to be able to achieve at pulling my investment out. And with this one, because I want to hold on to this, the majority of this, for at least a year. My hope was to be able to sell out at 19 cents and sell about 600,000 of them and pull approximately a 2x my investment back out to, again, move around in new opportunities, right? New ICOs or whatever. Um, uh, I think I may be this one here may do quite a bit better than that, because I see Ooh La La going up past this 19 cents that I have as a goal with that. I think Ooh La La is probably going to go up above that. myself personally, watching what's transpired, and I think since that original investment, I think that's why a lot of us have gone in and reinvested a couple more times, right? Because it's looking more and more promising, right? And we're all getting more, um, uh, you know, backing on our feeling. I can't think of the word that I'm trying to search for there. We're all feeling more credibility in watching what they're doing, right? And it's giving us more confidence. Um, so yeah, that one's really exciting. I think I'm gonna actually, I'm really hopeful that I'm gonna crush my original goal with that, and so yeah, really exciting. So I did the same thing down here, right? So, Cecil says, and he says for good reasons, right? Like, don't trade emotionally. Don't have emotions around these coins, and it's a rule that I kind of break with one of my coins, and um, Solar Coin, right? And the reason why, guys, like, Solar Coin is the first. I was one of the first people in the world to mine Solar Coin, but Solar Coin was like my entry into crypto. It was one of the very very first projects I got into. It was the very first coin I mined, and I stacked up a good number of these. And it's a very very promising holding, but it's a long term holding for sure. I probably won't cash out on that for at least another 3 or 4 years, maybe a little bit longer. Very good project I believe in, and like Cecil, like I'm very into the whole, investing in what you believe in, and I'm a big believer in the whole, free energy and all that stuff. And so, I highly believe in the project, but there's also kind of an emotional tie there because it was my first little baby in crypto. So, one of the things I did was, I said, hey, let me use this fantastic opportunity, that I'm very confident we're all going to crush it with Ooh La La, and let me see if I can up my solar holdings. So what I did was, I sold 25,000 solar, right? I got 15,810 for that at the time, and I invested it into Ooh La La, and I got another 790K of Ooh La La. And my plan is, or my hope is, to be able to wait until that 5 to 10x's, and then put all of that back into solar, because solar's like, it's not going to have that type of return that fast, right? It's a much slower growing um, project, and so I'm going to kind of use Ooh La La to make another investment. I've already done this trade. All this is already in play. Um, but yeah, that was my hope. I'm kind of using this to try and increase one of my other holdings that I'm really passionate about. So I thought that was kind of cool. Um, and then down here, guys, you're gonna have coins sometimes that you still believe in. They're still good projects. I think X currency is one. I was into that one in the beginning, and um, the guy behind BlockNet is the developer behind this. The guy's a genius as far as I'm concerned. Um, but I'm pretty sure that this X currency project is going to come back, but it got delisted off of Coinbase a couple months ago because all of their efforts right now are going into BlockNet, and so it got delisted, and so it was giving me errors in my portfolio. But rather than like get rid of it, because I'm pretty sure it's going to come back, I just dropped it to the bottom of the document, so it's not messing with the portfolio up here. And I just left that in there, guys, as kind of an example of like how I've been dealing with that particular issue. Because this will almost, like I said, certainly come back up here and get moved back to the top at some point. If it doesn't, fine. I'll move it over. You also notice for that reason that there's another sheet in here that I left that I call dead coins, right? These are coins that likely aren't going to come back. I've got probably 30 of them now, to be honest with you, because I played around a lot with mining, right? And I collected a lot of crap coins from the early days. But the thing with it is that you really never know. Somebody could pick up a particular tech or a particular coin that died before because of a particular tech that it had or something. So you never want to just like throw it away either. But you want to have a place to keep track of that stuff. I don't keep the wallets on my computers anymore. I just keep the wallet files saved, and of course the passwords for those wallets. But I'm not going to throw them away, man. There's always a small chance that something can come back. Obviously, the more coins that wind up in your crap pile,
which hopefully you guys won't end up with very many, right? The reason I have so many was because of the mining in the early days. We're all making much smarter investments now, hopefully, and you guys won't have so many of these, but it's going to happen. And you don't want to get rid of them when it happens. You want to keep your wallet files, keep your passwords, because you just never know. So that's what this sheet is for, just somewhere for you to dump that information, keep track of that. Um, Collective freebies. Some of us, some people out there are signing up to new ICOs or whatever, and you get a little chunk of free coins or whatever when you sign up, but they don't pay out immediately, right? You don't want to forget to go back and log in and collect those coins, because some of these projects, just the 50 free or 200 coins they give you during their initial promotion, those coins could be worth a couple $1,000s down the road, right? So you definitely want to like have a place like keep track of these, so you remember to go back in and grab those coins and move them to a wallet that you control later down the road. Some of these they're all different. I should say it that way. They're all different. Some of them will give you the coin like right away in an account. You can go in and withdraw them later. Some of them will automatically airdrop them to your ETH address, your Ether address. You give them your Ether address when you sign up, and they'll just automatically send them to you when they do the distribution. So, but you want to list those out, right, and just double check, make sure you got those coins or whatever, or that you go collect them if you need to. So that's all this sheet here is for. Hopefully, those are helpful for you. The history sheet. I cleared from my portfolio. So this should populate as you update your portfolio. Um, it should populate your history for you and keep history of your holdings. And I think it does it. I'm not 100% on this, but I'm pretty sure that it does it by the update. So when you update run the update script, it inputs the latest historical data into this doc for that period. I think is the way that's working, but I'm not 100% sure because I'm not really using it that much. Um, so what else over here? Other type of investments, guys, because like there's so many opportunities in crypto right now. I know Cecil and most of the guys are kind of against mining. I have a passion towards mining, and I'm following kind of a unique method with cloud mining that I think is going to be extremely profitable, but it's kind of a long-term play that a lot of people wouldn't be comfortable with. A lot of people doing their investments, are looking to make a return in a few months. And the mining that I'm doing now is more of kind of a long-term, like 2-year type commitment, but it's going to have really, really high potential long-term gains. So I'm kind of playing around with that right now, and it's kind of cool because for me personally, because I can mine with like almost no time input at all. The technical part of it is completely gone. So it literally takes me no time. So it's kind of cool to kind of bring that back for me because I enjoyed it without any time constraint, it needing my time to run them or keep them updated or mess with the hardware and all that crazy stuff. Um, but you still want to keep track of that because when I invested back into mining recently, I didn't pull it out of my bank account, right? I pulled it out of my portfolio, so it's part of my portfolio, and so I need to keep track of what that investment is, and so that's how I do that is any kind of weird investment that you have in your portfolio or whatever. I've just been kind of throwing it down here because again, we still need to understand what our portfolio value is, and this is still value, right? This is still in my portfolio. It's out there earning me money now, so I still need to keep track of that. So that's all that is right there is just and this is real number for me, guys. Like I did this a few weeks ago, but I invested that amount into mining with these guys, following a very specific long-term method. And one of the other reasons, let me explain this to you. One of the other reasons I did this is that I've always had a hard time keeping BTC in my portfolio, right? Because when I go to make an investment, if I have BTC, it's always been the first thing I go to pull from, and it's always honestly bothered me that I've never like slowly built up my BTC. And so one of the reasons this really intrigues me and why I put this particular method together with the mining is that it's going to force me to build and my BTC in my portfolio because I'm committed to this for a full 2 years. None of the profits are going to be pulled for a full 2 years, and so this is kind of a unique way for me to force myself to build BTC into my portfolio and not be uh, uh, not have that dangling carrot in front of me to spend it, right? So that's another kind of cool thing and why I'm doing this. Um, so let me last guys go over this little section over here, and then I think we're good. If you guys have any other questions with this, by all means, just drop them in the group. We can hash it out together, and I don't mind helping you guys. I'm like really busy. I do run a consulting practice, so don't be scared if it goes a little while before I reply. Um, I'm very very into this group. I'm very passionate about being involved in this group, so I'll definitely be keeping updated at least daily, if sometimes every other day, maybe on Discord. So I'll definitely reply to anybody. So don't worry about that. Um, so last guys, let's go over this little section over here. This has become something that's very valuable to me, and I think a lot of people also will find value into it. So I kind of put in some fake numbers here. None of these numbers are real. I just kind of put them in there to kind of give you an example of what I'm doing in my own personal portfolio and what this section is about, right? Um, so ideally, what you want to do is um, what I'm doing, right? You guys can kind of tweak this to your own method, but what I'm doing is I'm assessing my portfolio value. Where is everything at? How's everything going? Twice a month. So I'm doing it basically on the 15th and the last day of the month, basically. Um, so what I'm doing is, and you can, like I said, do that however you want. You can do it on the first and the middle of every month, however you want to do that, right? Just change these dates and do that however you want. Um, but we want to have a means of watching our growth, our means of assessing our growth over a period of time, right? And in order to do that, we have to have some way of logging that information along the way. Um, so this takes me like 2 or 3 minutes. Sometimes it can take me a few more minutes if I've got a lot of money on exchanges. I'll explain that in a second. But no more than like 5 minutes every 2 weeks, right, to log this information so that I have like really valuable insight as time goes on. Um, and um, so what we're doing basically, let me go over the numbers here that we're putting in. Under the portfolio column, we're running the update, right, before we enter in this number, so we're getting a live current value of our portfolio. So I would put, in this first one, I would put that 58.96. Don't worry, I don't personally mess around with the cents. Just go with the dollar. Um, so you put your amount there that you have in your portfolio. So this is what you have in your wallets. You have this in your possession in your wallets. Um, and then on exchanges, um, this is really easy for me. Rather than using, trying to, keep this updated. I've got 50 or 1500 ADA on Bittrex today, and I had a trade, so I've got 100 more tomorrow. Like I don't want to mess with that, right? And that's why I calculate this differently and only use this for what I actually have in possession. So the exchange is really easy if you do it like that too, because let's say that I have trades going on Bittrex, and I have trades going on Poloniex, and I have trades going on Binance, right? You literally open up all three of those exchanges, or this is how I do it, right? Open up all three of those exchanges, and you go to the your balances page, your wallets page on those exchanges, and it literally tells you your current value of your holdings on those exchanges, right? It gives you the number to plug in here, right? So it's really super easy to assess what you've got out on exchanges. So if I have coins on 3 different exchanges, I go and I see the current value of those coins on those 3 exchanges, and I add those 3 numbers together, right? So that would be the total I have on all 3 of the exchanges, and I plug that number into there, right? Invested, I need to know how much of my portfolio I have out invested, because all of that's missing from up here, right? We've pulled it from our portfolio, and we have it, out in limbo, waiting for it to come to fruition, waiting for it to become a live project, and waiting for it to get on CoinMarketCap. So it's kind of out in limbo, but we can't just leave it out in limbo when we're trying to, assess where we're at with our portfolio and our growth. So we've got to have a means of calculating that and logging that, and that's why this section is down here. So what I would do is I would simply add these 4 numbers, right? This is how much I've got invested out Um, as you can see, right? I mean, underneath the column, invested out, right? So I literally just add those four numbers. That's what goes into invested, right? Really easy. Then I add those three numbers, and that's my total portfolio value that I would have there right now, right? So that gives my total. Here, I don't do anything on this first round. Um, on the 31st, I would come in here and do the exact same thing all over again, right? And then I've got my new portfolio um, value. And what I like to do, right, is I like to understand like what are my daily gains during that period, during that month of January, because I find that information to be extremely valuable, and also, um, it's that psychological thing, right? When you can see, guys, this was insanely powerful for me, right? I am just an average Joe, like most of us in this group, right? I am nobody special. I am certainly nowhere near the trader that our mentors are in this group. Um, and I've never made the kind of money that I made those first 3 months, man. I'm telling you, my daily gains were over $8,000 in I think it was an 8 week period. The first like period assessment that I did, I think it went like 8 weeks before I really developed how I'm doing this now. So that first period for me went about 8 weeks, right? For 8 weeks solid, right? Every single day I averaged $8,300 or something like that in daily gains, right? And for me, that was so much. That gave me so much drive. I can't even begin to tell you. Like, never in my life have I made $8,000 a day, right? So to me, this number was so powerful. I had to include it in here, and I encourage you guys to use that because when you can start to really see with complete clarity what your portfolio is doing, and you start seeing numbers like that, your drive is going to go way up, right? I mean, just think about that. It's just absolutely amazing how powerful that is. Um, so that's what that number is, right? And why you see this section, right, is shaded a slightly different color than this, because it's a different period that I'm calculating my daily gains. And this is really easy to duplicate, guys. You can just, after you get these two periods filled out, you just copy those, right? Highlight them, Control C to copy, come down to the next one, Control V to paste, right? And then you can change your dates or whatever you need to do um, to continue on, right? No big deal. Um, let me get rid of that. See the file when I paste it again, the file locked up again. I'm gonna click the refresh and it clears it instantly. So yeah, just be wary of that. Let's see. Let me think here real quick. If there's anything else I'm missing, I think we're good, guys. I can't really think of anything else. I think I went through this with really good detail. Hopefully, everybody, like, I really simplified this for you because, listen, I'm not doing this for any other reason. Cecil didn't ask me to do this. Hopefully, he's even okay that I'm doing this because I didn't ask him either if I could do this. I'm just really passionate about being involved in this group, and I am so utterly grateful for what this has done for me. And I want to see this like help other people, and I really am just doing this in hopes that it really encourages everybody in this group to use this tool, man, because it's going to change the game for you guys. Again, if I can answer any questions for anybody, I'll be around in the group. Just let me know. Hope this helps, guys, and look forward to crushing it with everyone in here during 2018.